what your next steps will be. So like Kevin actually put it really in a sort of like really succinct way as far as like the adventures in Goodmead. And he's like, at the end of last week, it was kind of like, Goodmead, period. And then we'll pick up and move on from there. So if there's anything anybody wants to do while you're in Goodmead still, by all means. But if you guys want to have kind of like a rundown about what you know and what you've heard about in the Ten Towns region, maybe some of the rumors that you've heard that are outside of the Ten Towns region. Let's sort of like walk down those and see what sort of tickles your fancy, as it were.
A trip down memory lane.
Yeah, like like a little bit of like a recap. And so,
well,
as far as
the city council,
I'm sorry.
The city council won't hear any of my objections to the election of the speakers. So,
and it's been months, and I've been trying to have them listen to this shit. No one's believing me. I mean,
just keep trying.
We've got Gary or Dwayne or whatever the hell his name is, Greg. He's on our side, but I think he's just in it for himself.
It's a conspiracy, man.
Right. He's just trying to reopen the election to get himself another chance of getting elected, even though he had -1 votes. I don't even know how you pull that off. At least vote for yourself, man. Jesus.
He forgot to write his own name on the write-in ballot.
Someone else crossed his name out on something.
Somebody just wrote "not."
Yeah,
right
I was going to say.
name.
Someone just put not him, anyone else. And that's what -1 came from.
But Gary.
That guy was fun.
I feel like we should count that one as just against Greg. No objections? I didn't think so. Fuck Greg.
This live
this
election night coverage. Greg is really rounding the bottom of the barrel out right now with a -1%. How is that possible?
So he's like, so you're saying I have a chance then?
So
God damn it, Greg. Go home. What were you getting? Were you getting firewood or something? Shit.
What is your job? I don't
remember what it was that you were doing, but go do it.
Oh man. So Goodmead is a silly place. But some of the other things that you guys have heard about that's going on right now is you've heard about Bremen, where there was a bit of a lake monster issue. I'm fairly certain that before Nicholas was consumed in an icy death, that he had made mention about there being some connection between Bremen and the frost druid that you guys fought. I seem to remember that. I'm putting that out there as information just in case it was never really put out there. You guys know about Caer Dineval, where there is that was one of the places that TJ had been sort of contacted about there being some sort of like some weird subterfuge or something happening. Caer Koenig was another one of those locations. And both of those are sort of from where you guys are right now in Goodmead. You would have to travel back up towards East Haven and then past East Haven north along the road to East Haven is called the East Way, and then head north. Actually, you know what? While we're saying this, why don't I just pull up the map so you guys can look at the map? That would make way more sense.
Yes.
Kind of funny that you say that because I was born in East Haven.
Oh. So somebody may be a little bit more familiar with East Haven than others. Maybe you've got at least little.
It's not him, but someone is.
Would you call yourself?
I was literally born in East Haven, Connecticut.
I know. I'm. Oh.
oh, that's not what I was going with at all. Oh.
Thought you made your character from there.
Yeah, me too. And I was like, damn, I never even picked up on that. That's cool. Oh, boo.
No, not that cool. Sorry.
No,
That's
just Connecticut, whatever.
But so where you guys are at right now in Goodmead, which is sort of like one of the southernmost areas of Ten Town, Caer Dineval and Caer Konig would basically be to head north to East Haven and then continue on along its Lac Dineshire. To the south of you, continuing along the Redwaters, you had Dugan's Hole, which was a town that you had heard that was being that had some missing kids and that they were being plagued by these giant wolves. There wasn't a lot of like clarity with that, but you had heard about that. You know that Targos. We had talked about this before. Targos is where people who are going to attempt to climb Kelvin's Cairn generally start out for, because it is the most direct path through like sort of open tundra, as opposed to having to like climb through mountains if that was your goal. Targos. Yeah, I can't remember if you guys know more about Targos or not, but I know that you know that.
The two things I have for that is there's the Zentarium, a black network controlled by the Black Bishop, like some information
Yep.
there.
Black
and
Bishop.
Then there was a missing party heading for Kelvin's Cairn.
Yep.
Those are the only two I got.
And just for sake of like an honorarium, as it were, your beloved now expired robot was towards the end of his life dead set against going to Targos or Kelvin's Cairn. And then the other thing that you heard, I think you guys heard this, was that in East Haven, they've been having some tough times, but it's not been that clear as to what's going on there. Like, I mean, everybody's having tough times, but it seemed like more prevalent, the rumors that you heard. And then, like, sort of extraneously from that, other things that you've heard about is, and Kevin, I went back and checked, you were right, there was rumor of a pirate ship that was further out from Bremen along the sort of Sea of Moving Ice. And the Sea of Moving Ice surrounds like everything in Ten Towns, but it's sort of like out this way. And Bremen, being right here, is the closest to it. So there was some rumors of a pirate ship. Hrothgar made an acquaintance with a sort of wilderness tracker / survival guide named Selm. And you guys also heard rumor that Oral herself lives on an island somewhere in the Sea of Moving Ice. Whether or not that's true, or if that's just like crazy bar talk or whatever, those are things that you guys had heard of at this point. And then lastly, I think it was in Bremen that TJ had a connection with the token, or the locket that he collected from the weird knucklehead fish trophy way back at the very beginning of this adventure.
Yeah, that's Bremen, and that was a ring from the.
It was a ring. It was a ring. Yeah, it was a ring, a signet ring. That's right. A signet ring.
The like fish statue thing.
Yeah. So it was a stuffed fish. Yep. At Scram Sachs's bar, the North Look.
So Hrothgar. My question is, I don't know if you had any interest in pursuing the tracker lady and or her quest.
I'm good with whatever.
It's a very Hrothgar answer.
Yeah, so ambitious.
Well, I'm still not entirely sold on why she thinks she knows me.
Fair point. I mean, that was a bit sketchy. I feel like I feel like I'm gonna go back to this map that you guys are looking at right now and just start putting like circles around the towns that you've come to, just so like if we come back to look at this again, you'd be like, oh, those are the places we haven't been yet, you know. But yeah. So how about you, Novakri? What are your thoughts? What are your inklings?
I really don't have a preference. I mean, the going with the missing children is always a heart wrencher.
I was kind of
Okay.
leaning towards that, especially seeing it where it's like an hour away.
Is that the one with the wolves?
Yeah,
Yep.
that's Dugan's Hold. It's got the giant winter wolves and missing kids.
Yeah, that would have been my suggestion.
I think one of the things we might have been thinking was going down there and maybe hitting that as well, but good mead obviously on the way to get, good mead.
Not
Hopefully.
mead.
So, I mean, yeah, I think Dugan's Hole is not a bad option.
So one of the things that I also want to bring up, because it's something as a good reminder, is you guys are still carrying a fair amount of gear that you took from the Verbig's lair, including a stash of weird metal that I think somebody made a roll on and realized that it was
Not of this earth.
Yeah, that was
it was.
that was what
it was
Novakri
alien.
was doing most of the time. Just testing
Yep.
out stuff with
Yep.
that.
Yeah, I was having weird visions with that. But it's extra weight, so we probably want to figure out what we want to do with it.
That and what we're doing with all of our farm animals that we just got.
Yep, that's true too. You have to be fair, all of
Unless
those
I'm
animals.
mistaken, I thought that we were on our way back toward was it the inn?
Bryn Shander?
No, Lonelywood probably. I would imagine that.
Oh yeah, your base of
Our
operations.
inn?
Yeah,
Yes, our inn.
the ramshackle, or the to be soon renamed ramshackle. Yes.
We can. It's like we're in almost as far of a point as we can get from it, but we could head back there.
Well, we can also take this ore by the dwarven forge masters that we're cozied up to, and see what he can do with the ore.
Yes.
That's right. That's on the way.
Yes, I'm not just a pretty face.
No one was accusing you. Jesus, Novakri.
And just as a quick like side note, you guys can do with them as you please, but all of the livestock that you brought back to Goodmead were livestock that had been recently stolen and taken from Goodmead by the Verbeeks.
Do they have like a bill of sale or some kind of identifying?
Yeah, interestingly enough, there was a very detailed note in in Doug's coat pocket that said, on this day of our Lord 1497, I stole 6 of these, and then on this day of our Lord 1497, I stole 5 of these. But no, there's not. I mean,
Pretty
clearly
sure
you bring
that
it back
went for firewood. It's
You
cold up
wasted
here.
I'm sorry. I was thinking that you meant that you brought them back and started throwing them on the fire as firewood. And
I meant the journal that you were just saying. The journal of evidence.
Well, I was.
We
I
just
was,
used it
I
to
was
start the
thinking-
fire.
I was thinking he just wasted a perfectly good, snarky response on us.
I mean, like you guys come back to Goodmead as the conquering hero, so you can do as you will. But you definitely notice that there's some like local farmers that are like, oh, is that you, Brian? Is that you, Mabel? And like you're like, bah! Coming back. So do
That's
with it
not a
as you
yes.
will. Additionally, the druids, man, that was tough to get out. The druids in the meadery, as they kind of like they will offer to you the ability to like have some space if you need to keep something if you're going to set off to do something else. So if you don't feel the need to like trek all the way back to Bryn Shander and then Lonelywood or do whatever, they will offer to hold on to whatever you need to for the aid that you've rendered the town.
Okay. How much stuff do we have? That like it's not like a ton of like real bulky stuff, is it?
Well, you guys
There's
have some weapons and armor that you took off the Verbeeks that is like large in size. There was like I think they had spears and they had like daggers. Did you guys take armor as well? Like, I mean, I think you guys took everything you could take because you had pack animals to drag stuff.
Yeah, we took everything, including the mammoth tusks.
That's right. So you also have a set of... Yes.
So I don't know if that's something that like you're interested in doing anything with quicker or more immediately. But if not, kind of brings up an issue of, I mean, we could leave the stuff here. I'm wondering what we would want to do with the animals.
Well, from the sounds of it, it sounds like they're expecting to get the animals back.
I mean, we're already heroes here, so.
Can we be more hero?
Yeah, I don't think so. It's not like, they give you like ultra hero or anything. So, but if
yes, but is it possible to lose hero?
Well, you
sure.
reach a point of diminishing
sure.
returns.
I mean, if we live long enough.
I would say, and as the DM, I'd put this out there that you might be able to use the creatures as bargaining chips, should you ever need or want more from Goodmead. I mean, you've got a pretty sweet deal from the meadery for the Ramshackle or whatever it's going to be renamed. I know that different names are getting thrown out there, but. Maybe that's that. I also think that there was that at some point somebody had said, what if we open up a chain? And so like, you're just going to create your own hojos throughout the 10 towns, or these are going to be your holiday inns. That maybe maybe these are bargaining chips, like maybe it's something that you could use to gain continued good favor from the people of Goodmead, or not. I mean, or maybe you just want to like create a what do they call it, a litter, and you guys just sally forth on the backs of 30 sheep and goats.
Well, first of all, you're saying it like it's a bad thing.
No. I'm saying that out loud, thinking to myself, yeah, there are no stats for that in this adventure path, none whatsoever, and I don't know why. They should have.
We just have like a rotating, like sheep and goat path. We just, lie down, and they just kind of, walk us to the next place that we're going. Just shifting throughout. Just on a bed of sheep and goats. Just gonna have an army. All right, so does anyone have any thoughts of where they want to go? Anything leaning any certain way? I'm thinking maybe Dugan's Hole. There's something that we could hit right there. It's real close. Maybe bring the. I mean, I don't know if we want to bring the sheep and goats with us. Maybe leave them here.
If there's a place that we can leave them, then I'm good with doing some of the stuff in the area. I didn't realize that was on the table last week. I thought we had all the stuff that we had to secure, and then we're looking off to our next adventure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I guess if we want to get into like the super nitty gritty, could, but I prefer to just kind of brush aside and say that you guys just give me a basic idea of what you guys want to do, and then we can kind
either
of move it
we're
along.
bringing it or we're leaving it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're in the area, I'm good with like I said, with leaving it. If it's
it up
good
on
and
the
doing
way
some of the
back.
stuff in the area.
I just like the day you're leaving, like Roger comes to you and he's super weird and his eyes are a different shade or a different, like they
So
look like
nothing
honeycombs
new from
again.
Roger.
And you're just like, all right, so we can leave our stuff here. And Roger's like, yes, you can do that. And you just open the door and you're like, all right, everybody, like let 30 livestock run into the meadery, and then you just close the door and leave.
I'm still failing to see the problem.
No, I'm not saying a problem. I'm just
Was that
just,
not
it'd
what
be
they
one of
were
those-
offering?
Yeah, just like you hear chaos behind you and the door closes and you're like, good mead, period. And like that chapter ends and you just pick up, you guys are on the road heading towards like wherever you're heading next.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think something kind of like that.
Okay. All right. Cool. And I'm assuming that included like any bulky gear and items that you guys had from the giants, including the metal that you found, right?
How big was the amount of metal that we had?
It was. That's a good question. I gotta pull it up. Hold on.
You mean you don't already know?
So I do
Don't
know.
memorize all of it.
Worst
look at it.
DM ever.
It was. So it's 75 gold pieces worth of this alien metal that I'm gonna say was probably like 50 or 60 pounds worth, because there was like a basket of it that got flung at somebody as like an attack when the female Verbeeg first came on the scene. So I'll say it was like 50 pounds worth, give or take.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna carry like 5 pounds of it in like my pocket, so it's readily
Okay.
available.
Yeah,
But the
and I
rest
think
is on the off speak.
I think we talked about it too. It's and if not, I'll just give you a little more information. It's smooth to the touch, like it's clearly like sort of like ragged pieces of ore, but it's smooth to the touch, and it's got kind of a like an opaque blue tone to it. Like it looks like metal, but it's got like kind of a bluish hue to it, and
Kind of like titanium when you take a heat to it, kind of.
yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't have that weird like certain metals have like an iodized or like multi-hue to it. It just looks like a piece of like blue steel, like heat treated steel, but it's got like kind of a lighter blue to it. That's what it looks like. And so you can absolutely take a couple pieces with you. And so, all right. And so with that, you guys are going to kind of leave Goodmead and head to Dugan's Hole. That's the plan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what I will tell you about Dugan's Hole is that it is the smallest and most insular of all towns in the 10 Towns region. It is, as far as like that snowflake meter goes, it's a 1 in everything. Friendliness.
So does it have a hole that Dugan fell into, or a hole that Dugan owns?
Well, interestingly enough, Dugan's Hole is a reference to two things. The first is that there's it's relatively good fishing in a small sort of like circular area, and then the other thing is that there's a circle of megaliths, like very large ancient stones, in a circle in Dugan's Hole, that are known as the 20 Stones of Thrun. And nobody knows much about it at all, except that it's been there for time immemorial. Apart from that, the other things to know about Dugan's Hole is that it's, like I said, very insular. The people don't take kindly to outsiders, kind of thing. That they're very sort of like, they feel that the rest of 10 towns kind of abandons them, so they have nothing good to say or want to do to the other 10 towners. But they are considered part of 10 towns, because 10 towns, and like if push comes to shove, they can be called upon to like render aid, but relatively speaking, they're like the hermit in the woods that doesn't come out unless like absolutely needs to. There's also some conversation because of their sort of like isolationism that maybe the people there have some less than like awesome relations between like first cousins kind of thing.
Arkansas.
Yeah, there's several parts of the country you could say. I mean, like I live in like Maine, and people sometimes think that's Canada, aka like the south of the north kind of thing. So it is. It's stuff.
I'm from Oklahoma. I know about Arkansas.
You know what? I've never heard anyone use that line before, but that's awesome. That's something that should be
That's
written
because
down.
there's like only 7 people from Oklahoma, so you've met one of them who's finally able to throw that out there.
I just think that's a line right out of a movie. I'm from Oklahoma, so I know about Arkansas. Oh, all right, cool.
Well, just remember, the biggest difference is our family trees fork.
Right.
It's not a line, just a straight line. The other thing, I guess some of the other things that I can share is that apart from fishing, Dugan's Hole really doesn't have much. Apart from fishing, Dugan's Hole really doesn't have much industry at all. It does have like a small dock, and because of like the ice in that's happened, like the boats can't go out anymore, so people are forced to go out and try to ice fish. And so it's like, you've heard tell that it's super creepy in Dugan's Hole, because if you're in the town looking out, you'll see these kind of like humanoid shapes just like in the grayness milling about in the darkness out on like the frozen waters. And it's just the fishermen like trying to bring in what catches they can, but it's just something else that's kind of known about the area. And so what I will do is I will pull up Dugan's Hole on the map so you can kind of see a little better.
Tom, I was going through my inventory, and I had a bunch of stuff that had like stacked up, but I was checking my weight that I could carry, and I would like to have grabbed the rest of the ore. Because I was just making sure I could carry it, because I had like 3 of everything for some reason. So it's like, oh shit, that's so much weight that I don't actually have.
A lot of that's hooked up to my axe beak too.
Yeah, I assumed.
Just in case we needed, the space for it. I was like, I would like to make sure we have that, because that seems like something I don't want to just leave out. Anyway.
Okay. With a bunch of weird druids?
Yeah. Let's leave it with some, weird dwarves who want to smash it or something.
We want to take it to other weird dwarves who will smash it for us. Yeah,
right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
but
that's
we'll
cool.
tell them to. So there we go. So, yeah. Like, I assume it's kind of like in a bag or like basket, and it's just like swung over the shoulder.
Yeah, you can. You guys, I mean, you can absolutely do that. In fact, if you want to, before you set out, kind of divvy it up so it's not too much weight for anybody in their axe beaks. I'm sure it's not based upon like what loads you can carry and everything. But if you want, I mean, you could easily break it up and just sort of like each of the axe beaks has like some that's combined with it. I also feel that like don't forget too, you have an axe beak that doesn't have a rider unless he shows up out of his poke. So like you have an additional axe beak that's running around with you.
I think we only have 4 though, right?
Didn't I thought
'Cause I
I thought
think-
Zahir.
Well, because we had what's his name, Codswallop, who was
on
going to be
Tensor's
too
disc,
heavy.
that's right.
Yeah. So then we ended up still having 4 after that, because then the Pokeball stopped responding.
Okay. Well, I mean, so maybe that's something that you guys are interested in procuring an additional like axe beak. I think that what did I say? It's like 50 gold like that for them. That or maybe you want to trade some of your sheep for that or something like that. That's so you have another one. That's something that if you want to do before you take off, we can. You don't have to do it right now, but just think about it before next week or whatever, and let me know.
Okay.
And that's maybe something that you guys.
I think we're
can do.
good because I think I just wanted to make sure we had like the room. So like if we're splitting it up and whatever. So, all right, cool.
All right. Cool.
Dugan's Hole.
Dugan's Hole. All right. So as you guys are heading there, and Kevin, you were good to pick it to sort of point it out already. It's a relatively short trek to leave Goodmead and to get to Dugan's Hole, especially on the backs of the axe beak and following the sort of well marked trail between the towns. I'd like everybody to just give me a survival check as you're trekking there. Oh man, you're starting off strong.
It was like strongly on a 16 and then went, but 3, so fuck off.
Survival, you said?
Yeah, survival.
The Lord Bard, bitches.
Oh wow! So not only does he one up Novakri, but he also 20s it. So
Show off.
Novakri, Ziada, you're kind of focused on like the trail and making sure that like there's nothing jumping out of the undergrowth or like snowbanks at you as you're traveling. But Novakri and Hrothgar, you guys see that sort of coming from the west and moving towards you guys. So if we were to look at that map of towns, and Dugan's Hole is kind of like to the east side of where you guys are. So coming from the left, heading towards the right, it looks like there's a large storm starting to build up, but it's a long way away. But like it just like the terrain kind of flattens out a little bit where you guys are, and it's kind of like in Florida where you can see, like there's a storm coming and it's going to be in like several hours kind of thing. But like it seems like it's heading towards you guys. The other thing that you guys notice as you're traveling is you are getting very close to the full moon. Like it will be the full moon. Well, with a natural 20, I will tell you that in 3 days' time, it will be a full moon. And so a couple things to note about the full moon. One is on the day of the full moon, that's when the towns make their sacrifices to Oral, whether they are humanoid or food or like fuel or lumber or whatever. So you know that. The next thing that you also know, and Kevin, I know that you didn't see this, but I'm going to tell you anyways. That will officially start your 3-month clock for the gig with the spirit that you had a curse with. Okay, cool. So that I just I know you didn't make the check, but I wanted to just sort of reiterate that and make sure that's not. But you guys are going to be able to make it a problem for this hits, but you definitely see that this is something coming towards you guys. As you get closer to Dugan's Hole, there's you see like the town that kind of like obviously like this is like like the bird's eye view from above it. You guys are going to be approaching it from this area over here where the path leads in. It's a relatively like small town, like I said. There's kind of a boardwalk, if you will, that leads from the piers that are on the Redwaters right up to the speaker's house. That they try to keep as clear as possible. And one of the main reasons for that is this area right here, this large building, is actually kind of where they process fish and kind of like sell it or prepare it to get out to everybody. So it's kind of like the fish markets in Seattle that like you go in there and like people fish around as soon as they get in. And so basically the fishermen, like in good times when the weather's good, their ships would come up to the pier, they'd haul their catch up, bring it into the processing point, and then like people would come in to buy it, people would come in to barter, to do whatever. And then the speaker could just sort of like travel down and make sure that commerce was good kind of thing. And that's why they do it. And so as you guys are coming into you see what looks like a large creature start to limp out into the road and then kind of partially collapse and like sort of be breathing raggedly, like maybe like 100 yards or so up in front of you, and like it just sort of like comes out of the woods and kind of like just sort of like drops over, and you can see with your like various abilities that it doesn't appear to be dead, but that it's not moving. It seems very immobile in the middle of the room. What do you do?
I'll go take a look at it. I'll do a medicine check on it.
Okay. Give me. So as you guys sort of get closer, like again, it was a ways away, like like a football field away from you. But as you get closer to it, you see that it's sort of like breathing a little raggedly. Like you can see like the steam coming out of its mouth as it's sort of like as its chest cavity kind of rises and falls. And it is, in fact, like this enormous wolf. And when I say enormous, like it's large-sized. But compared to, what a normal wolf would look like, this is a huge creature. It has, it's got kind of like white and blue brindled fur, and its eyes, they're kind of like, they kind of glow with this sort of like eerie luminescence, even in like the mild daylight that you guys have going on right now. And like as you guys get closer, you see like it tries to like to get up to its legs, but it's like limping badly on one of its rear legs, and it kind of it just blurts out. It says, "Leave me."
Can I make a perception check just to see if there's something around that like caused that? Like,
you mean like something attacked it?
Yes, and like
sure.
evidence of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like it being chased. Come on, do well. That's not well. 10.
It doesn't appear to. You kind of like glance around and you can see that like where this thing came out from the woods, and you can see kind of where it collapsed and where it's kind of like trying to like stagger up to its legs again, where it's called out to you in common to leave it be. But that's really all that you can see. You don't, and as far as like that's pursuing it or whatever, there's nothing. It just it like kind of like it's standing there and you can see like it's kind of quivering a little. And it's just like, I allow me to get out of your way.
I'll draw my sword and say, if you would like a swift death, I can provide that for leaving you will bring about a long and painful one.
No, sirs, no. Just my master goes through terrible bouts, and I needed space. Please, I will be fine. Please don't kill me.
Your master did this?
And the wolf kind of like hangs its head and says, "Yes, it is. He gets upset, and sometimes takes it out on myself or my brother."
Sounds like a wife beater.
What does he get
see he's
upset
like-
about?
I dare not say. Who knows the mind of one's master, right? Ha ha.
I have a few ideas.
He says his name is Garagai, and I don't know if it's because the
Gary?
people of like Garagai, Garagai.
Gary Gygax.
Perhaps, but no X's. It's like perhaps the townsfolk haven't reacted appropriately for his taking of their children, but he delivered a powerful kick to my side, and I needed to limp off to try and heal off. So please, again, don't kill me. I'll be fine. I will be fine.
Now,
What was
can I-
that about children you were mentioning?
It's just the Garagai seeks tribute from the town for his obvious greatness, and he had taken the children as a means to I guess exact said tribute, and the town has yet to pay.
Now, can I?
Yeah, go nuts.
No, I was saying, can I tell if he's going to be okay? He sounds pretty rough.
No, I'll be fine. This happens all the time. Ow! It's all right. And it's fine. It's all right.
I'm kind of surprised that this town, from what I've heard, a small town that is almost irrelevant, would not give the correct sort of dignitary. I don't know if that's the correct word. The correct sort of, I don't know, sort of kind of like worship sort of thing to your master. I feel they should be taught a lesson. I feel your master would be a good person to talk to and let, to be able to let this town know who is in charge and that he's doing things for their better good.
Well, I don't know if I know anything about fits, but as long as you don't tell him I showed you, I'm happy to lead you back to where he is. Actually, just before, because I glassed over. I'm sorry. So,
Yep.
Devakri, if you want to give me a medicine check, maybe I can tell you a little bit more about like how hurt he looks. It looks so. So the creature's covered in like thick, like I said, white, gray, blue fur, and it appears that like whatever is going on is either internally based or isn't enough that it's actually like something that's like he doesn't appear to be bleeding or anything like that, right? Like he looks like somebody kind of like worked him over, I guess, like if that's the best way to put it.
No, yeah, he just looks more bruised and battered than really hurt.
Yeah, but without being able to actually like see skin because of fur. If there's bruising, then there's bruising, kind of thing. But yeah, he says, I mean, if that is what you want to do, I mean, I can do that. I can't tell you he'll be pleased to see you. as you can see, he doesn't take kindly to anything. But Garagai is Garagai, and perhaps you will be able to talk with him. I don't know. My name is Koran, by the way.
Hello, Korab.
Pleased to meet you. Now, so that we can get a full, idea of what's going on, what is it that the town owes him tribute for?
Because the taking of their children, and also his greatness.
All right, so just because he's great, the town needs to give him tribute, and because they didn't, he took the children, and now the town needs. So I just want to understand and make sure that we're on the same page, that he's great, and this is what happens.
Your logic seems correct, yes.
And just so again, so we can kind of gauge, the kind of person your master is. What is it that makes him great? So that we can share it and truly bask in his greatness.
I believe small folk would recognize his size and power for his authority. Yes, I believe that's how your minds work. Yes.
So he's big.
He is a giant. Yes.
Alrighty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lead on, Macduff.
Who is this Macduff? But all right. And so he starts to he starts to gather himself up, and he kind of leads off into the wilderness from whence he came, and you guys start traveling, and he says, "Steady yourselves. This is a trek that will take approximately an hour." And so as you guys start to cross the sort of snowy expanse, the tundra, I'd like somebody to roll me a d10 and tell me what you get. And also tell me if you want high or low.
Okay, I'll go with high.
Okay, all right. As you guys are traveling with Koran, you see. You were like, "I'll go. All right, I'll go high." And I looked, and thought you had rolled a 10. That's why I was like, "Okay, all right." So instead, as you guys are going, you notice that after maybe about half hour, 40 minutes or so, you must be getting almost there. That storm that you had seen did not divert and comes sweeping in across you guys. As that happens, Koran yells to you. He says, "Just gather around me. My body will provide you warmth." And he offers to sort of create a windbreak by almost like a cat curling up around a ball, wrapping himself up around you guys if you are so inclined.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. He kind of he's got kind of his tail over his muzzle as he's wrapped around you guys, and he provides a surprising amount of warmth. And the snow does not seem, or the blizzard itself does not seem to affect him in any way. Almost as if he had some sort of innate ability to by the cold. But as this is happening, he kind of mutters to you guys underneath his fur. He's like, Never can tell the weather these days. Never can tell. And so the storm lasts for about an hour. So you guys are kind of hunkered down there for about an hour. With him wrapped up around you, you're not going to see any effects. You don't have to go through the process of trying to set up a tent like you had done the last time you encountered a blizzard. As the snow kind of subsides and Koran gets up and kind of like shakes the snow off of himself, and you guys kind of get up. You guys notice that the snow itself has basically obliterated the tracks or the trail that Koran was like doubling back on. You know approximately where you came from. The actual path that you had been following is kind of obliterated, but that doesn't seem to affect Koran at all, who seems very familiar with the terrain that he is in. And he says, "Please continue to follow me. We're nearly there." And as you guys continue on for maybe another like 20 minutes, half hour or so, all of a sudden, jutting out of the vast tundra is this edifice that's built entirely of ice. It's like a huge dome, kind of like the top of like the Capitol in DC, and the structure is easily 3 times the height and width of any building in anywhere in 10 towns. It's just this enormous ice structure. The building has what appears to be 3 openings. There's one on the east side. There's one on the southern side, which is the guys are kind of coming from. Hang on, I just got to look at something really fast. Actually, you know what? I can just pull this up on the map. Take a look at it. All right. And so you guys, I'm assuming the map that I just pulled up, actually I didn't pull it up. You guys can't see anything on it because you guys aren't.
Correct.
So yeah, so this is actually a good question for you guys. Do you guys want to proceed, or do you want to wait to have TJ back before you do this?
So I think this is something where it's like, we would talk to Korag and just say like, hey, we should probably come back at a different time, so that way it's not suspicious that, we came here at this time with you,
Oh, you are wise, small man, or woman, person, thing, whatever you are. But, and Koran like goes over towards like one of the entrances. So there's these 3 massive entrances, not multiple sides. I had misspoke. There's 3 large entrances near the side that you approach on, and Koran like goes. Like you see, he breathes the air, and he goes, "It may be wise for you to come back, but I can tell you by the scent that Garagai is not here right now."
Do you know where he might have gone? Where, like, what he might be doing? When he might be back?
Small person, there's no way of me knowing the master's whims. But what I can tell you is that if he hasn't eaten the children, they're probably inside. I can sit here and try to keep watch if you want, and maybe, send a signal, or maybe scream if he kicks me again.
All right. So, I'll look at Novakri and just kind of point to my head with my finger.
Just imagine Novakri's like, "That's your head. We've talked about this."
Yeah.
And I'll raise my eyebrows and be like, huh?
I'm assuming you guys are going to speak telepathic. Gotcha.
You rang.
So we're in for saving these kids. Checking out, seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. Let Hrothgar know, and Loki. He's not really been reacting much, but
Deep in thought.
Okay, I relay that mentally to the other two.
All right. Well, if that's the case, do you guys want to wait for TJ to come back, or because this is potentially like a full on.
Might be a good idea.
Yeah. Unless,
And I just want to say this too, just in case anybody hasn't done it. You guys have gotten 2 full nights of rest, including one night after TJ Loki got the curse removed, and Kevin, you got the curse abated for your time frame.
yeah.
So everyone should be at this point full up, like full with spells, full with health, full with everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. So I had forgotten. Like I had prepped this a while ago because at one somebody was like, "We should go to Dugan's Hole because it's the last place on the line," and then you guys obviously went different places. So I have to go back and check on this, but interesting. This developed rather quickly. I'm excited to see what happens when you guys venture in. I will tell you, but besides this being like such a like an enormous structure, and I'll try to send you guys. There's a couple really pictures of it that. Some things to think about is that there does not appear to be any light coming from inside the structure at this point, and that like what you can see are these like 3 enormous openings that that clearly a giant could move through easily, but that small folk are kind of almost dwarfed by. So things to think about. But yeah, so and since we're kind of like all like you guys are all standing out there next to Koran, is there anything else that you want to ask or do before we kind of just hit the pause button?
No, I got nothing. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the next step is gonna bust down the door, kick some giant ass.
So the nice part is that like the opening themselves, these door, there is no door. So you literally you could fake kick the door open, but you won't have to actually do that. Just walk right.
Yeah, I think the only thing would be to maybe go in and check out what's going on, and kind of see if we can set up something, some sort of ambush for when he gets there. But no, nothing before that.
Okay. All right. Cool beans. Well, so good stuff. I am. I'm excited to see how this goes. This. I feel like this could be interesting. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is that Novakri, you on the second night of sleep, because that first night was that first time you had an experience with that weird dream sensation that you had. The second night, you still had like it occurred again, like there was a similar occurrence that happened, but it wasn't as strong, and you didn't like sleepwalk or anything like you did on the first night.
Mm-hmm. Does it seem like it's not as severe, or does it seem like I've kind of learned how to handle it better?
I think maybe a little bit of the latter. Like maybe because you've been exposed to whatever is causing this for a longer period, maybe with like what you've got going on with your kind of dual self and like your own like sort of innate powers, you've kind of grappled down a little bit, so it's not as extreme. But fun things to know.
Yep.
But yeah, so I know this was kind of a short sesh, and there was a couple different ways that this could go, but this was cool. So yeah, I'm again very cool. I pulled this map up and like I I didn't have your figurines on it, but I had like all of the stuff and things, and I'm like, I remember reading this. I know what's going to happen. All right. Well, kind of. I have to go back and read it again, but yeah. But,
All right, so I got a question, just in case I missed something and was stupid. What level should we be at this point?
So everybody should be at 3rd level right now.
Okay.
And it's not a dumb question. The way that this book is set up is that it's kind of like your standard like PG game, right? Like where you've got a bunch of things to do, and then all of a sudden like you unlock more of the world. From like a character growth perspective. Basically, you guys have a few things to handle or tackle within 10 towns before like unlocking the rest of the world. However, the rest of the world is there, and some of it is totally doable currently, but some of that like unlockable rest of the world is way outside the realm of like what you should be encountering. But the same can be said for some of the stuff in 10 towns. Like when you guys fought the moose, like that fight could have gone very differently than it did, but it that way 2 of the party went down. So it's like I can't really say much more than that, but that's what it is. The way that the structure of the game is interact in and around 10 towns unless you break out, and then that gets you to basically 4th level, but there's also a number of things that can happen break you out sooner, and then you level accordingly from there.
Well, I'm not worried about that. I was just curious if I was at the right level and I didn't miss something, like we were supposed to level up last week or something.
Yep, no, everybody should be at 3rd level. And that's right across the board, right? Everybody's at 3rd level?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I was hoping that you would say, yeah, you're supposed to be at level 4 now, so...
I was hoping that too. I'm just like, I hope I fucked up.
Because I'm just sitting here thinking, if you're going, 2 verbigs, this, and, all of these things, and, saving the town, and I'm thinking, I'm hoping that I missed something, and...
I mean, so to be honest, you actually several towns at this point, several of the 10 towns. Like you took care of the mine in Tourmaline, you took care of the thing that was haunting that, you took care of Lonelywood, you took care of Bryn Shander, but Bryn Shander was basically just helping out the dwarves, but that's sort of resulted in some real good boons for you guys. You have, where else have you guys gone? You did those 3. You've done several things. I can't remember. You've been several places. You've done things. And I don't think I've mentioned this, but you guys also have an unclaimed bounty on one Sefik Caltro that is he's still out there. This sort of hypothesized like murderer that's been running around 10 towns killing people that supposedly have avoided Oral's sacrifices and whatnot. Ooh, and on another note, because this is fun, I've actually been talking to a couple of like players outside the game to maybe come in and play some of the NPCs when you guys fight them. So like especially like sort of like mini bosses or stuff like that, just so that there's a little extra level of goes with it. And so that may be something that's coming to you guys soon as well.
Cool.
But all right, well, it was a short night tonight. I know, but it's always been one of those things where walking into any sort of situation with a character that's not there, that's like clearly one of the main characters, it's rough to try to have somebody else play them, especially if like something bad happens. So I like waiting until next week. So
yeah, it's been a long week for me, and I can use some sleep.
All right. Well, in that case, get some shut eye, and thank you guys for playing, and we will pick up here next week. All right.
Thank you, Tom.
Alrighty.
Great job as always.
Thanks, dude. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
Seizures.
Later.
Late.